And you know what? If I unmuted my audio, you probably could hear me. So once again, welcome to Everett Lee Show podcast. Tonight, I have a great podcast and show lined up for the viewers that's viewing and listeners of the Everett Lee Show, because we are brought to you by podcastcity.net. Head over to podcastcity.net for the latest podcasts such as the Everett Lee Show and much, much more. Hit them up on Facebook, facebook.com/podcastcitynetwork, and of course on Twitter at podcastcitynet. My guest tonight, he's on the phone right now. He is the owner of New Ohio Wrestling. I want to welcome to the program tonight, Donnie Hoover. How you doing, Donnie?
Hey, doing good. How you doing?
Pretty good. And just forgot to turn up the volume there on my one thing, but other than that, that'd probably be the only thing that messes with me tonight there on this podcast.
It's always something, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, because I was doing a live podcast Friday night, and I was messing with the sound on there, and I forgot I had that turned down though. But other than that, we're gonna get things rolling. I want to first ask you, at what age did you get into wrestling?
I started in liking wrestling back when I was a kid, back in the 80s. Georgia Championship Wrestling was the reason for it. And I started watching it over at my uncle's house, and the Four Horsemen, I took to them immediately. All the heels, I've always been a heel guy. Buzz Sawyer, love Buzz Sawyer. Anybody kind of crazy, Bruiser Brody, anybody of that sort that showed a little bit of craziness and was mean, nasty. Those were my kind of people. I don't know why. I don't have a rhyme or reason for it. But, it's a Georgia Championship Wrestling back in the day. That was when I started getting into wrestling. I started training late. I was probably 27 when I started training. So I got a late start, unfortunately.
Like Diamond Dallas Page?
Yeah, pretty much.
But not that old, like he did.
Yeah, no, not that old.
Yeah. You mentioned the Four Horsemen, Ric Flair. Those guys were just great. I mean, like Ric Flair.
Oh yeah.
With Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson, the Enforcer. Such a great faction. And my father, he was a big Dusty Rhodes fan, and he could not stand Ric Flair. He would cuss the TV when Flair would come on, because Dusty was his man, because of what Dusty what Dusty stood for with the blue collar worker, and how he was that type of person and his character, and compared to what Ric Flair did and what Ric Flair stood for. And he'd always cuss at Flair on the TV there, and he'd almost destroy our TV. I think he did at one time just because Flair was on there. And yeah, it was such a great faction. And
he probably hated it when they attacked Dusty in the parking lot and broke his arm in the car door, didn't he?
Yeah. I think it was around that when he seen that, and he was raising hell. He always did. Dusty was his favorite, but there was times where he did like Flair. He did, but when Flair was doing his, stuff as the man, he couldn't stand it. He just could not stand it. He couldn't. Now, how was it wrestling in IWA Mid-South? How was it for you when you were wrestling for that promotion?
Oh, yeah, Mid-South was awesome. I had nothing but good things to say about it. I was only there a few months, unfortunately. Travel the distance from where I lived to where they were kind of hindered my longer stay there. But, I worked with a lot of the guys there. I did multiple matches with Ian. I got to get in a death match tournament and wrestle Axel. A lot of great guys were there when I was there. CM Punk was there, Colt Cabana, Dave Prazak, Chris Hero. They had their Gold Bomb Mafia back in the day, and I thought was a great gimmick. I loved it. Necro Butcher was there, when I was there. They brought in Jerry Lynn quite a few times while I was there. Just a lot of great talent. And, it was a pleasure. BJ Whitney, he was there. Just a lot of people that, you could just talk to, and they're all real great and respectful. And, like I said, I never had a bad incident or anything there. I loved it. It was painful, but I loved it.
Yeah. You partake in some hardcore matches, didn't you? And some hardcore wrestling, but then you would also have just regular standard matches too, right?
Yeah, I did both. Most of my hardcore and death matches and stuff like that were at IWA Mid-South. And then a lot of the regular wrestling I did back up here in Columbus, Ohio, and the surrounding areas here. But I could do, like I said, I kind of meshed with all of the styles. I could work decent with everybody. And it didn't matter, if they were a brawler, a high flyer, or death match, or I kind of just meshed well with everyone. So it kind of, I kind of just did a little bit of everything.
That's cool. Having that diverse style, when you're in the ring with an opponent, is just great because that shows diversity. And when people watch matches, I assume that they wouldn't see the same thing over and over again. They would see something different here and there.
Right. Yeah. You have to change it up. Certain moves work with certain people, and certain moves you try to do it and it wouldn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Was there any with barbed wire and light tubes and stuff like that when doing your hardcore matches?
Oh yeah. The death match tournament I did with Axel was a barbed wire salt death match.
Uh-huh.
And I cut my arm open on that match because it was my own fault. I got thrown into the ropes and I wrapped my arms around the top rope. I don't know why. It's just a habit. And the barbed wire just like sliced my bicep on the inside of it. And then, light tubes. I did a few weapons matches with Ian, and like every match we used light tubes, so those were kind of effective. And there was a light tube tower. I remember once it was like a light tube tower that was built and taped together with duct tape, and it was on the floor on the side of the ring. And Ian actually hip tossed me into it, and like the lights exploded and the powder and the glass went everywhere, and it was pretty effective. It got a good reaction from the crowd.
Oh, I bet. I bet. You mostly wrestled as a bad guy, a heel. How much heat did you get from the crowd? Is there anything crazy that happened? Because I know with the kayfabe and everything, and at the end of a show, depending on what you did and stuff, was there at the end of any show where people were just waiting to get a piece of you, like the fans after a show?
Oh yeah. There was a couple times. I mean, I've had fans like spit at me. I've had fans throw stuff at me. I had one take a swing at me, and she was a female, which was kind of funny. I mean, I probably still would have hurt if she'd have got me. But I've had all that happen at the ring, and then there's been a couple incidences where I've had people waiting out in the parking lot to jump on me and try to beat me up and everything. So my wife would, have to pull the car around the back, and I'd have to sneak out the back and stuff, and which I thought was hilarious and awesome. Like I'd piss these guys off enough to where they want to like literally beat me up in the parking lot. So I've had a couple of those incidences I had to deal with and stuff, but I mean, that's part of it. That just means you're doing your job well. Yeah,
you definitely. I've heard stories about where I can't remember off the top of my head which wrestler it was, but they'd have to drive another car to the venue, to the event that they were at, because they knew what was going to happen after the show. And then after the show, when they get out to the car, it was kind of like that movie with Patrick Swayze, Roadhouse, where at the end of the night, when Patrick walked out to his car, and he had that rental car, that one he bought, it was all destroyed and everything.
Had the big stop sign out the back window.
Yeah. At least it didn't get that extreme for you,
Right, yeah. We never had nothing crazy like that happen. They were just kind of waiting outside for me and stuff, and so we had to like slip out the back door.
Yeah, that's great. That is because people would buy tickets just to come to the show and see what you would do next and who you were feuding with.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Oh yeah.
That is great.
Yeah, and I remember the one of the times when I slipped out the back. The next time we were back in that building, those same guys were there, and they were making comments like, "Oh, what happened to you? You didn't come outside, you pussy!" And it was just saying like stuff like that. So it was kind of funny.
That is some crazy shit, man. That is. I like that. I like that. How long did you, or do you still get in the ring and wrestle?
Not much. I mean, I did like a short battle royal last year at our first time at the Arnold, just to say I got in there and did something. But I ended up stopping wrestling probably it was around 2000. I started in 1997. I probably wrapped it up around 2002 or so, and it was due to injury. I had I got like 6 or 7 concussions. I had a brain bleed that put me in the hospital, and I've had multiple broken bones and had to have knee surgery and all that. And so I had to step away just from injuries and from family life. My wife and I were starting a family, so I had to be the responsible dad and get a real job and try to earn a good living. So yeah, I did that, and like I said, I stepped away for a while, but I always kept up with it. I always paid attention. I always kept in my mind and head in the game. I just just sometimes you just got to do what you got to do.
Right. Definitely. Now with how hardcore and deathmatch wrestling is back then when you were in it, now compared to now, what's your thoughts about how it is nowadays?
I don't think it's as violent now because of all the people cracking down on everything. I mean, the deathmatch stuff is still. I mean, I'm sure it's still very painful and it hurts. They all do, but right. It just seems like back in those days, like back when ECW was popular, and people just they expected more because they watched ECW and shows like that and CZW and all that, and so you had to pretty much like bring it and just put your body through a lot more. But yeah, like the main deathmatch companies, I mean, they still get in there and get after it. I'm not discrediting them in any way. They still put their bodies on the line and beat the crap out of each other. So that kudos to them for doing that.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of companies still out there, a lot of independent promotions that still do some deathmatch wrestling. And of course, I know a few months ago everyone heard about what David Arquette did out there in California with PWG. That was crazy. Yeah. And then of course we have CCW. They do some really awesome stuff and stuff with the deathmatch wrestling and the hardcore stuff. They still keep it on and stuff. ECW will always be my favorite.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, ECW will always be my favorite. And it's interesting that Paul Heyman seen what they were doing in Japan and brought it over here to the States, and he basically capitalized and utilized it, and that's what made it so popular. And one of the death matches, I remember one of my favorite ones from Japan was Cactus Jack and Terry Funk and the barbed wire with the explosions in the ring. That was some crazy shit, man. That was.
Oh yeah.
That was. If you
definitely gets you on the edge of your seat for sure.
Oh yeah. It definitely did. If you read the Mick's biography, he said right after that, on his way home, his arm was cooking still when he got back to the States. That's just how brutal it was. Yeah. Were you ever a fan of Abdul the Butcher?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I never got to meet him, unfortunately, and all that. But yeah, I mean, him, like I said, the mean, nasty guys, the Bruiser Brodies, all those violent, big guys like that. It was always, they always were, my favorite to watch and to pay attention to.
That is. They were great. They were great. They did some amazing stuff. Now, when you got out of wrestling, how did you get into being a promoter? How'd you get into doing that?
It just like I said, when I left, I left, but I didn't. just go away completely. I paid attention.
Mm-hmm.
I would keep up with things and stuff like that. And it just felt like something was missing. And, once, I had my job established and, the kids was growing up and getting a little older and everything was good.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I just kept telling my wife, like, I want to get back into wrestling. I miss the boys. I miss everybody, because I didn't reach out to them as much as I should have, just because, I knew if I would, then I would be right back in there, back to doing it again. So yeah, I just kind of kept saying, I'm going to start my own promotion. I don't want to get in the ring anymore. But, after hearing me say it 2 or 3 times, she just finally like, if you're going to do it, just do it. Just get down, figure it out, and just start your own promotion. So I was like, okay, and that's kind of how it worked.
That's cool. That's cool. Because with you in the community and in wrestling, in the wrestling community, of course, when people you've worked with and knew of you, of course, when you start in a promotion, they were I'm pretty sure that they were down for anything that you were gonna do.
Oh yeah. And when I told them what I was doing and stuff, everybody's been really supportive and helpful. I've had a lot of other promoters in the area reach out, and offer advice and stuff. When I have questions, I'll reach out to them. And like I said, there's a lot of promoters and stuff in the area that have been real cooperative, and that's kind of one of the things that I think is good. I mean, I know there's a lot of promoter heat out there in the indies, but me personally, I just don't see the reason for it. I think it's all silly. So I mean, if the promoters can work together, it just does nothing but help the independent wrestling to get as a community. So like I said, I've talked to many promoters. They've been very helpful. If they have questions for me, I make sure I help them out. I've went to their shows and helped out. They've came to my shows and helped out. And I just think that's how it should be, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. You're all have a passion and interest in what you're doing and helping each other out and, showcasing talent and having events and a good stack card. It's great. It's great that you can, reach out and work with other promotions, work with talent, and it's great. And I like that.
Yeah, same thing with the wrestlers too. Like I said, I haven't really had any bad issues with any wrestlers. Everybody's been real supportive and nice, and they do what we ask them to do, and so like I said, it's all just one big family trying to make something happen.
That is. Tell me about New Ohio Wrestling. What is New Ohio Wrestling?
Okay, it's the promotion we started here in Columbus, Ohio. We've been going at it about 3 years. We started in 2015, and we're currently running our main place of running stuff is at Kickmaster Foot Golf in Grove City. That's where we run our events. But we're also in with the Arnold now. This will be our second year with the Arnold Kids and Teens Expo, and we've had a great time there doing that. We're excited to do this one coming up next weekend, and got everything ready. And we just recently came to an agreement with the Ohio State Fair as well, which is a big deal for us too. And so our first event there is going to be August 3rd, and they're looking for a long-term, commitment, working together as a partner. So, we got the fair, and now we have the Arnold, and now we got the fair, and so we're a kid-friendly, family-friendly type promotion. I mean, back in the day, I was vulgar and I cussed and ranted and raved and did the blood and all that stuff, but that's kind of like a complete 180.
Right.
We strive to be a family-friendly promotion because we're with the Arnold and now with the fair and with Kickmaster, and so we value the kids and stuff like that, and so we have just it's clean family fun, and everybody seems to really enjoy it.
That's good. You kind of separate yourself there from regular promotions and just do the family promotion, which is great because you have that for the family, and then other promotions cater to different audience. But I like that. I like checking out some really good really good family friendly wrestling. And then I've seen stuff on YouTube, looking at matches and seeing stuff with talent, and I enjoy it, and that's great. If people who's not familiar with the Arnold Classic, can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, I mean, the Arnold Classic's been around for many, many years, probably 30 plus years. And they run here in Columbus once a year. It's a big weekend convention where they bring in like the strongmen and the bodybuilding competitions. I think right now they have, I think it's over 20,000 athletes in different categories, 80 sports events they're up to now. And they've grown so much that now they're not only in the convention, we're at the fairgrounds, which that's where we are, is the fairgrounds. And but they have buildings at the fairgrounds that they fill. The convention center's packed full. And, they have other oddball places here and there in the city, and it's just growing like crazy. But it's just basically a weekend of sports, anything and everything you can think of, from baton twirling to wrestling to weightlifting to MMA and boxing, to bodybuilding, fitness competitions, jousting, or fencing, or, just anything you can think of, sports. It's probably somewhere at the Arnold on that weekend.
That's great. I like that. I've heard of the Arnold Classic before, and I'm familiar with that because that was something Arnold Schwarzenegger created. Yep. And so many like future like bodybuilders and fitness has come out of the Arnold Classic, and it's neat that the Classic has expanded into more than just that. Now, being at the Classic, have you scoped out any talent that you think would be interested in getting into wrestling and joining New Ohio Wrestling?
Yeah, we've had people approach us, and we actually do a fantasy camp there. We do 2 of them during the weekend, one on Saturday, one on Sunday, and it's just for, it's not for the trained wrestler. It's just for people off the streets, 14 and older, if they want to get in. And just, it's a 2-hour fantasy camp where they get in, they learn some moves, and do some wrestling, do some stuff, cut promos, just run the ropes and all that, just to kind of get a feel for it. And we work with the Ohio Pro Wrestling Academy, James Avery and his group, and they do a fantastic job at it. And so we offer the fantasy camp for, so people come in and then, give us a chance to kind of look at some people. And if they like what they, do, then they can go to Avery's training school and get trained. But, and I've had like a lot of wrestlers reach out to me and send me stuff to look over, which is, I'm really appreciative of all that.
Right.
But, it opens some doors, and we have, a lot of diverse people approach us, with questions and stuff and interest.
That's cool. I like that. That people show up, and you have that right there to actually get in a ring and learn some moves and actually get a feel for it, and, take a bump in the ring.
Fantasy camp they can sign up for. And it's at copwa.com if they're interested. We still got a couple spots open for this weekend, and if anybody wants to get in there and give it a shot.
That's awesome. I like it. Now with new Ohio Wrestling, I'm looking at the logo up there I have on the screen now. I like that.
Yeah,
that is neat.
Yeah, we use both. We call our fans the Now Nation, so that's kind of their logo as well as ours.
I like it. It's interesting. It's catchy, and it's neat. Now, with the new Ohio Wrestling, what talent should people look out for that you have in the promotion? Who should people keep their eyes on?
Oh yeah, we have a lot of great talent. We pride ourselves on doing quality events and using, some of the best people around. We got the Black Superman Onyx. He's a big giant dude. He's been in the business for years. Very powerful. Dark Star Mac Taylor. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of him around the Midwest region. The professional Brandon Fields, Sluss Taylor, We have Aaron Williams, baddest man alive, Aaron Williams, handlebar haberdasher, Marion Fontaine. A slew of great talent is, it works with us and stuff, and they come in and do a great job. And I know I'm forgetting some, but yeah, like I said, any of them is just as good as the others. I mean, they get in there and they work their butts off and put on a great show. And I say every event we do, we hear nothing but great feedback and stuff from everybody for, the talent that we put in there and the product that we put out. So we're pretty pleased with the results and the people in the locker room so far.
That's nice. I like that. When does New Ohio Wrestling, when do you do events? Is it once a month or twice a month?
Well, the end goal is to do twice a month. We usually, at the moment, are only running like 3 or 4 events a year. Mm-hmm. So it's like quarterly. Right. But we're working in the process to try to pick up the speed, and we want to eventually go to every other month. So right now we're probably looking at quarterly. I know we got the Arnold this weekend coming. We might try to do something in May over at Kickmaster Foot Golf there in Grove City. That's pretty much our home base where we run most of our events now. And then, we'll have the fair in August, and then I'm sure we'll have something, after the Halloween season. We usually run another event. Halloween season's pretty busy for us. So, right. But you're right. At the moment, we do 4 to 5 probably a year.
That's good. You said Halloween season. You're a horror movie fan. You're a fan of horror movies.
Oh yeah. Big horror fan. Big haunted house guy. I love haunted houses, haunted attractions, horror films. Yeah, I like all the scary stuff.
Yeah. Now I heard that I was listening to Robin Nilsson today when you were on his podcast last night, and you mentioned that you do a haunted house attraction. Tell me about that.
Yeah, we've partnered with Kickmaster Foot Golf in Grove City. Not only do we do our wrestling shows there, but we actually have a outdoor haunted trail there, and we call it the Trail of Tormented Terror. And it's right outside. It's right along their property line, right outside the foot golf course. And it's probably 60 to 70% through the woods with different scenes and sets. It's just an outdoor haunted house basically. And then you come up through the foot golf course. But it's something we started. This will be our 3rd season coming up. We've done it the past 2 years, and we're having a lot of fun with it. I have friends in the haunt industry that are top notch and been doing it for many, many years, and they've come on board and teamed up with us to help us out to get it going. And it's like a homegrown, handmade. We basically just took some axes and some clippers and just started digging into the woods, and we basically dug out the trail ourselves by hand, built all the scenes by hand. We have an actual cabin out there, out in the woods that we built by hand. And we've had a lot of feedback, and we've heard nothing but good things. And we're going to add to it. We're working on it throughout the summer. We're going to be adding some more scenes and sets, and just kind of keep it going. But it's like I said, I've been into the haunted attractions, haunted houses. And it's just a lot of fun. We really enjoy it.
That's cool. I have a friend down here, and he starts in the middle of summer, and he prepares, and at his house he does a different attraction every year for Halloween. He does some different stuff. One year he did like a cemetery in his front yard. He built like a mausoleum and just went all out with it, and people come by, and he just does that. And then last year, a couple years ago, he did something like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where they had like a butcher. He took his front porch, he fenced it in, or he did some crazy stuff to it, where he had like a butcher that was chopping up like meat and human body parts and stuff, and almost like
very cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, he spent a lot of time in it, and Halloween is his favorite holiday of the year. And Speaking of Halloween, they have really good movies and stuff that come out, horror movies that come out around the time of Halloween. And did you happen to catch the new Halloween remake?
Oh yeah, we were there as soon as it came out. Probably the second day, as soon as we could.
Yeah.
We went and watched it.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard some mixed stuff about that with the, I know I said remake, I meant reboot with the Jamie Lee Curtis coming back and, wanting to kick, Michael Myers' ass. They said it was like almost like a direct sequel to Halloween 1, and Halloween 2 really didn't exist, but I still need to catch that. Right. I know I've had friends that watched that. Now they're rebooting Child's Play, Chucky. Did you catch the trailer on that? And what are your thoughts about when they reboot horror movies and franchises?
I actually like the reboots. I mean, as always, the originals are always close to my heart. I'm an '80s horror guy. I'm like a big slasher fan. So like the Halloweens and the Friday the 13th and the Texas Chainsaw Massacres, all that's my stuff.
Uh-huh.
And but when they reboot, I always go in with an open mind and I give it a go. But yeah, like so I'm looking forward to the Chucky reboot. My wife, she doesn't like Chucky. She's afraid of him, which a lot of people are. And I actually have a life-size Chucky doll in my closet. She won't let me bring him out of the closet. But yeah, and my mom was a very huge Chucky fan, Child's Play fan, and she was always excited when new ones would come out and stuff like that when she was able to watch them. But so I mean, I'm looking forward to it. It looks interesting. There's a new twist on it with the new doll and the new character, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it looks interesting. It does. Some of the horror remakes I've kind of like passed on because I didn't want to actually watch it. For instance, the Nightmare on Elm Street, when they rebooted that, I thought it looked cool, but I was like, the originals, like you, the originals just stick so close to me. And like Friday the 13th, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I'd have to say Saw. That franchise, the first three Saws movies were just great. Especially the first one is my favorite because of the twist ending at the end, which I thought they played off really well with that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, the Saw movies were definitely good, and I'm even a fan of like the Scream movies. A lot of people don't like the other Scream movies past the first one, but I mean, I enjoyed them all. I thought it was a very clever concept, so I'm into the Scream movies too.
Yeah, I am too. I remember I was a senior in high school when the first Scream came out, and all of us went to see it that opening weekend, and then the next day, like that Monday at school, everyone's talking about it. It was like, did you see Scream? Did you see it? Man, it was just great. And then when the second one came out, we did the same thing to that one. And the third one, I pretty much seen them all in the theaters. And I actually enjoyed. A lot of people hated it, but I enjoyed that last one they did, bringing back the original cast members. Like Nev Campbell, Courtney Cox, David Arquette. I mean,
I enjoyed them all myself.
Yeah, they were fantastic. They definitely were. They definitely were. But if you had to pick your all-time favorite horror movie, what would it be?
I'm a Jason guy, 100%. Anything Friday the 13th, I'm on board. You got me.
Yes.
It's just like that meme that goes around like, shut up and take my money. That's pretty much me when anything Friday the 13th related.
That is cool. I love Friday the 13th. I love the first four with Jason, and then I'd say one of my favorites out of the series would be 6, because that's when they got really creative with the killing. Jason coming out with a weed whacker and just different things around the house. And I don't have to say that I think my least favorite one was when they tried to do something a little bit different with when he went to space. Just the concept was kind of off. Yeah, Jason X. But my favorite death scene out of that was when he took the girl and he shoved her face on the carbonite and she froze and he just smashed it. I thought that was cool.
That was brutal. Yeah, it was awesome.
Mm-hmm. It was. Kane Hooder. He was hotter. If I'm pronouncing,
Yep.
Yeah, he was great as Jason, man. He was great. It definitely was.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever?
Yeah, I met him at a convention a couple years ago and got one of the choke picks. He's famous for doing choke picks with people where you get down and he'll get up and he'll like choke you for real and you take a picture.
Yeah.
And I was able a couple years ago to get one of those, and I didn't think he really would squeeze your neck. I thought he would just like put his hand around your neck and you make a face like you were getting choked. But no, he snatched me up. I was like, hey, I introduced myself, said, hey, you mind if I get a choke pick? And he's like, oh yeah, sure. And he just like snatched me by the neck, and I was like, oh my God. And he was like choking me. And so in the picture, it's like really funny because I'm making a face, but it's like a real, I'm getting the crap choked out of me face. But it was awesome. It was great.
That is cool. I was gonna ask you, if you've been to any conventions there and met anyone like that, and that's cool that you got the choke pick, but he's choking the air out of you.
Oh yeah, he snatched me up good. I was like, good Lord, this guy's strong. I mean, I've been choked in wrestling and all that kind of stuff, and chopped and hit with weapons, but yeah, he snatched me up, and I was like, man, there ain't no selling this. This is real.
That is cool. That is. This has been a really good podcast, really good conversation talking with you, talking about new Ohio wrestling. And I lived in Ohio at one point in my life. I spent about 5 years, and I wish I knew back then about what was going on around me with wrestling, because all I knew at the time was just WWE and WCW during the late 90s when I lived up there. But it's just all these promotions and everything going on in Ohio. Ohio is hot, I would say, right now with just promotions and just wrestling. And it's a great time to live up there. Oh
yeah. There's so many great talents in this area. It's just not even funny. And a lot of times it's unfortunate we don't have there's actually not even enough promotions around to give everybody here work, so they have to go outside of Ohio. But I mean, just the talent pool that's being brought up here in Ohio with all the great trainers that's around. It's just fantastic, and it makes it easier for us to find good workers.
Right.
But it's amazing how just the talent level you'll see in this area.
Mm-hmm. Right. Now, is there any talent that's out there, like say in like other promotions out towards the northeast, say like ROH? Is there anyone that you'd like to get into new Ohio wrestling and that you haven't gotten yet?
I mean, no really set name comes to mind. There's not really somebody that I think of where I'm like, man, I sure want to get them on my show. But I mean, there's like I said, Ring of Honor, all them guys have a lot of great talent. And I've talked to a few people about coming in. I've had conversations with Abyss. I thought Abyss would be great to bring in since he's in the Ohio area, and he's worked many promotions here in the area. But I mean, like I said, there's so many great guys out there that you could bring in. There's really not one that pops into my mind like I have to get this person here, because there's so many that I would love to have here. You know what I mean?
Right. That's cool. Always have your eyes out, open, and just looking. Just in case you get a hold of someone and you can get them in there. That's great. That's great, man. That's definitely great. That is. This has been really fun. I have enjoyed talking with you, and I want to thank you for taking time out tonight and coming on here and talking with me about new Ohio wrestling and the Arnold Classic, which is coming up, you said, this weekend. And
March 2nd and 3rd we'll be there.
That is awesome. That is. So viewers and listeners, if you're out there in the area, March 2nd in Columbus, please go check out New Ohio Wrestling. And where can people find New Ohio Wrestling and yourself on social media at?
We're on Facebook and Instagram as just go New Ohio Wrestling, and on Twitter it's New Ohio Wrestling without the G. And then same for me. Like my Facebook is Donnie Hoover, just DONNIE, and that's my personal account. And I have a Shank Dorsey. That was my old wrestling character. So, I have that page up that I kind of just have there, and then Donnie Hoover page and all that. But and Twitter, same thing, Donnie Hoover or Donnie Ho, DONNIEHOO, and that's usually what I'm on mostly is those two.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on tonight and talking with me and discussing with me about wrestling and New Ohio Wrestling, and love to get you back on sometime.
Oh, sure, anytime. I had a great time.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, no problem. You have a good night.
All right, you too.
All right, bye-bye. All right, that was Donnie Hoover, owner of New Ohio Wrestling. And I want to thank everyone that's tuned in tonight and viewed the live podcast here on the Everett Lee Show. And before I cut out, I want to mention that you can always find more of the Everett Lee Show on the following: Stitcher Radio. Download that app for your smartphone and tablet. Libsyn.com. Check out Everett Lee Show on Libsyn.com and on iTunes. Subscribe to Everett Lee Show on iTunes and, of course, on YouTube. The audio portion of this podcast you can check out on Everett Lee Show on YouTube. And, of course, you can check out more on podcastcity.net. Head over to podcastcity.net for the latest content and shows and podcasts featured on Podcast City Network. You can hit them up on Facebook, Podcast City Network, and of course on Twitter at Podcast City Net. And this is all not possible without our supporters of Podcast City Network.
The following support and sponsor Podcast City Network. City Limits Tap Room, sports bar in DeLand, Florida, has brew on tap, serve food, the grilled cheese is excellent. For upcoming events, check out City Limits Tap Room on Facebook.com/City Limits Tap Room. Atlantic Sounds has thousands of new and used vinyl records and CDs. If they don't have it, they can order it for you. Same location since 1982. For more updates on what's new, check out Atlantic Sounds on Facebook.com/Atlantic Sounds Vinyl. Sports Sanity Customs have worked with organizations from custom embroidering polo shirts to jerseys for your kids' baseball team. They do it all. Armed with state-of-the-art equipment and an in-house design team, they are equipped to take on your next project. Visit their website to learn more, sportsanitycustoms.com. Visit Sports Sanity Customs on Facebook.com/SportsSanityCustoms. 3Count Design offers a wide range of graphic design products, video, photography and other forms of media. Everything from t-shirt designs to websites. Visit Facebook.com/3CountDesign for more. Demo Blast Studios, an explosion of imagination. Original artwork, podcasts, video, apparel and more. Visit DemoBlastStudios.com. Visit Demoblast Studios on Facebook.com/Demoblast Studios, the best family entertainment pro wrestling show in the state of Kentucky. Kentucky's Own Wrestling brings quality family vintage wrestling to a town near you. Kentucky's Own Wrestling offers a ladies division in wrestling and a training school. Kentucky's Own Wrestling is the current longest running Southern promotion. Visit Facebook.com/Somerset Kentucky's Own Wrestling. All supporters and sponsors are brought to you by Podcast City Network.
Hey fans, here at Podcast City Network, we have a lot of great shows on all of our great social media outlets. PodcastCity.net.
Facebook.com/Podcast City Network. Hit that thumbs up. You can send a tweet to Podcast City Network on Twitter at Podcast City Net.
Only on Podcast City Network.
All right. Thank you, supporters of Podcast City Network. Well, I'm going to wrap this up. Again, I want to thank Donnie Hoover for coming on, owner of New Ohio Wrestling, and talking and discussing with me about the promotion and the Arnold Classic. Be sure to check out New Ohio Wrestling at the Arnold Classic on March 2nd in Columbus, Ohio. There'll be a lot of things there and a lot of stuff at the Classic to check out. And I want to mention real quick here, I'm trying to pull it up right here. I guess I will pull it up right here on the podcast here, because Wednesday night on the Everett Lee Show, Wednesday night, I will have none other than my guest on Wednesday night here. I'm trying to pull this up for the viewers to check out, because you're going to like this, because if you thought tonight was awesome with New Ohio Wrestling, with the owner Donnie Hoover coming on and discussing about what's been going on with New Ohio Wrestling, you're going to love my guest I'm going to have on Wednesday night, because you're definitely going to enjoy this as soon as I can pull him up here, because I was supposed to have this already, but with stuff going on and trying to get ready for tonight and working on Podcast City Network stuff, I pretty much didn't get this up yet. But here we go. Here he is. Wednesday, 9 p.m. on the Everett Lee Show. I'm gonna have wrestler Paragon on. Be sure to check out Wednesday night at 9 p.m. with my guest Paragon. He will be on the podcast talking about wrestling and what he does in the ring. So viewers and listeners, be sure to check out episode 117 of the Everett Lee Show. And I think I'm pretty much done with that. I'm pretty much done, and I am out of here. Check out the Everett Lee Show this Wednesday. And once again, thank you to Donnie Hoover for coming on and discussing with New Ohio Wrestling. Everett Lee signing off. Everyone have a good night, and thank you for watching and listening to the Everett Lee Show. Peace.